Heyo, Omni Dogs and Omni Kittens. It's Omni Dog at Omni Dog's Vault, presenting Baturdays in the BatCave. And not only do we have Taylor Brown, but we have Bat Baby with us.
Yeah, Bat Sam's here. He wanted to show off his onesie. We were gonna do it last or 2 weeks ago at the Harley Quinn show, but he was napping in the morning, so he was really upset about that, and he really wanted to make a guest appearance. So, say hi, Sam. Say hi, everybody. He has 6 different Batman outfits, and my wife wanted to have him wear this one. So we had a conversation about which one he would wear. Very nice. Hi,
Very nice. I should have made that the thumbnail.
And so Bat Sam will make an appearance over the next several months, so you can see all his different onesies.
Nice.
I'm going to take him downstairs, and I'll be right back, and you can introduce the show for me.
Okie dokie. Today we are, first I'm turning my phone off. Today we are discussing Batman Black and White, a big, thick, monster-sized omnibus, and I actually dig this design. This is a subjective thing, of course, so I like this design. And it is a series, I believe, that came out in the 90s. That's when I feel like I got it in singles. Yeah, series, I believe that. Whoop, I'm getting some feedback.
Sorry, that was me.
Oh, all right.
I should have muted it, but I didn't mute it.
I am just taking the dust jacket off of the book. And the idea with Batman Black and White is these are about 5 to 7 page stories. This is what the inside looks like. They're all in black and white. They're all with different artists. And we'll be showing off a lot of the art. And they're all with different writers. And so these were short stories that came out in, I guess, the 90s.
Yeah, the first run was 1996 when it started.
Okay.
And then I believe it came back in 2013 and 2014, which is why you can see towards the latter half of your volume, it starts to have a lot more modern writers and artists.
Right. I don't
know. Yes, you collected this in singles when it came out, right? Initially?
I did, yeah. And then I collected it in trade paperbacks. My memory, which isn't the greatest, we all know. My memory was that I really enjoyed it. I thought, this is a cool concept. They've got all these great writers. They've got, and it's an all-star cast of writers, all-star cast of artists. And they're all doing short stories. As I've grown as a reader, I've noticed that short stories, I think, are the hardest thing to write in comics.
Even in literature, too.
Well, that's a good point. You have to do so much in so little time. You really need to make the reader care in only 6, 7, 8 pages.
They're all 8 pages, I believe. That's not much.
Okay, they're all 8 pages?
Yes.
Okay. So you only got 8 pages to grab the reader, make them interested, and make them feel satisfied. So, no, my youth was not in black and white. My TV was in black and white, that's for sure.
As a kid, I was convinced that back in the 30s and the 20s, people saw in black and white. And then back in the 70s, everything was grainy. That's how I was convinced till I was like 10 years old how people saw the world.
Well, I remember in 3rd grade, we didn't get a color TV, I don't think, till like when I was in 4th grade. Because I remember some kid in the cafeteria talking about the Wizard of Oz. And that was, of course, back when you only saw the Wizard of Oz once. And it was on once a year. And it was a big deal. Everybody in America watched the Wizard of Oz. That was the only way you could see it. Was when it was on, I don't know, NBC, I guess. And this kid said it was so cool when she got to Oz because it was in color. And I was like, my show didn't turn into color. And I didn't figure out.
You have a color TV.
I didn't figure it out until I got home. It was because we had a black and white TV.
Man, that would ruin that movie. I feel like that wouldn't be as special because whenever she gets to Oz, that's kind of like the big pop. That makes it really stand out.
Yeah. Well, that's how I saw it for the first 8 years of my life in black and white.
Brett Eicher's comment is funny. I mean, it's not funny. It's actually a big compliment. He says, I just paused the Harley Quinn animated show to watch this. That's a big compliment. That's a great show. So to pause that show to watch ours, that's a big compliment.
That is a big compliment because we both loved the Harley Quinn show.
Yeah, if you want to hear our review about that show, watch our show from 2 weeks ago. We talk about Harleen, the amazing Black Label book that you all need to buy. We reviewed the Birds of Prey movie and the Harley Quinn animated show. That was Justin's book of the year, and I think it's definitely going to be my top 5 books of the year.
I haven't put my books away yet. I'm in a slump filing books. This is still from 2 weeks ago. I have a huge stack of books all over this desk.
I have so many books I need to file away. I'm just so lazy. And then I think, I'm getting this book in 2 weeks. I don't want to rearrange again. So I have to coordinate my arranging efforts. So I have my Marvel shelf, I have my DC shelf over here, then my creator owned over here. So I have to make sure I'm not getting. I don't want to refile every week. That's just too much. That's way too much time.
Yeah, I agree. Well, here's a question already. I can't answer it because I don't read those books. How do you guys feel about the noir series DC was doing for Batman books? I kind of like it. Well, that's good you like it, Lloyd. I haven't read them.
Is that the one that Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips did?
I think the noir is the ones that are just black and white.
Oh, I'm thinking about, I know Marvel did noir, didn't they? Like Spider-Man noir.
Yeah.
Punisher noir.
I don't think those are in black and white. I feel like those were just set in the 30s.
Okay.
I think those are I think Lloyd's talking about black and white. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought because I looked at the chat. I think Lloyd's talking about like Batman Dark Knight Returns noir or something.
Oh, okay. Right. Like they have that for the Killing Joke, for the Black Mirror, like you said, Dark Knight Returns. I think they're cool, but I don't really have a great desire to have them in my collection because I like having the colors. I think I do like black and white books if they were meant to be black and white, if they were meant to be read that way, like Sin City or Greg Rucka's Whiteout or things like that. Things are meant to be in black and white. But I really enjoy color in comics. I love when colorists really make the art pop. So I like reading colors like with Dark Knight Returns. So anyway, we were talking about Batman Black and White, how it's really hard to do an 8-page good short story. And like I said, I think it's even hard with literature. Like I love the short stories of Stephen King and his son Joe Hill, but there are some short stories you can read, and they're really not that compelling because you don't care about the characters. You don't really have enough of the world fleshed out. So it's very difficult to do this. And so I went into this book with a lot of high expectations, and to be honest, I was somewhat disappointed. It wasn't bad, but it was a very mixed bag for me. To be honest, it was a bit of a chore to read at times. And I think Jess and I both came to the conclusion that this series isn't meant to be binged like we did. I read it over the course of like a week, and that was a mistake.
Yeah, and I read it over the course of 2 days. That was a big mistake. And Taylor, you just froze.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now you're back.
Okay. Well, what did I say whenever I was cut off?
Hello to Slovakia. That's cool.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I read it over 2 days. That was a mistake. I think this omnibus should be read as I read it and enjoyed it. And that's in like 3 or 4 stories at a time, set it aside, come back to it, 3 or 4 stories, like it was released. As Taylor was saying, it is a mixed bag. The usual suspects in here of writers are really good. Like you've got Bruce Timm, you got Paul Dini.
I loved the Neil Adams story.
Shut up. Don't ever say that again.
That was in the bottom 3 stories for sure, unfortunately.
Bottom 3, it almost made me quit reading comics. There
was one I can't remember what it was that was worse, and I had to skim it because I was like, I can't do this anymore. I just skimmed that story because the hard thing with some of these stories is that some people jam pack every panel with huge word bubbles, and huge thought bubbles and panel descriptions that it gets to be so cumbersome to read. And so there's only 8 pages again. And so people just jam all this panels, all these bubbles in there, and just way too much. And Neil Adams was definitely in the bottom. He had a story about a zombie Batman that made no sense. It was so weird and just so out there. Neil Adams shouldn't be allowed to write anything.
No, peace and love, but no, he is a good, as a writer, he is a good artist. That is the best thing I can say. So, I mean, why don't you talk about some of your favorite stories while I show off the art?
All right, sounds good. So I have the trades. Jess gave me 2 of his trades that he had. So I kind of go by volume. So if you have the Omnibus, just know that I'm talking about my trades. That might be a little bit confusing. But I really liked the first story, Perpetual Mourning. Do you remember that story, Jess? The first one that kicked it all off?
Yeah, was that when Ted McKeever wrote it?
Yeah, and Batman's investigating the death of a young woman. And he really shows how much Batman cares for every single person, every single victim in Gotham City. I love what he says here. He says that he doesn't win every battle, essentially. I lose plenty. The ones I couldn't get to, the ones I couldn't save in time, those are the ones I carry around inside of me. Those are the ones I'll mourn forever.
Yeah, that's on this page.
I just love that idea that Batman cares about every single human life in Gotham City, even the criminals. That Batman essentially cares about everybody, and every single person who's killed by the Joker, killed by Two-Face, killed by a random mugger, he cares about them and he remembers their names. He doesn't forget anybody. He carries these souls around him forever. I thought it was a great way to kick off this collection, and it really just shows me, again, why I love this character so much.
Yeah.
That he is in this to truly help people, that he's not just doing this for fun. He's out there to save people's lives and to make Gotham City a better place, and every single person counts to him. You know, everybody counts or nobody counts, essentially.
And did you I liked the Bruce Timm Two-Face story that followed it up.
That was probably my top 3 favorite stories, because if you've been watching this show long enough, you know my favorite incarnation of Batman is the animated series. I'm a huge fan of Bruce Timm. I love Mad Love. And this is a great story exploring Two-Face, who actually gets this reconstructive surgery, and he's somewhat able to go back to his new life as Harvey Dent and have a relationship. But this woman that he's dating has a twin sister who's really bad news, and she really appeals to the Two-Face side of him, the bad Harvey side of him. And I don't want to ruin the ending, but that was a sad, tragic noir story. I thought it was fantastic. I wish we had more Bruce Timm drawn Batman stories.
I agree.
So that was definitely one of my favorite ones.
Now, we're not going to go over this story by story.
No, just the ones that we really were impacted by.
Okay.
Probably like almost 100 stories, probably, right? Or even more.
This is a big Omni.
Is it like 1,000 pages for your Omnibus?
It is. Let's see.
Mine's like 200, 250 pages each. I think one of them's 300.
It goes to 887 statue gallery. It does have a statue gallery and sketch work. Ooh. It's got statues that were made. That's one by Alex Ross. So it does have lots of extras. It's got the black and white series of statues that were made after this.
Yeah, Lloyd Wong says the stories sound hit and miss. Unfortunately, that is the case. There are a really good amount of excellent stories. There's some good stories. There's a lot of mediocre stories and some that are just plain bad, to be honest. There are some that I was like embarrassed for them that they were in this volume because they couldn't compare to the Bruce Timm story, to the one we just talked about before that. There are some excellent stories in here, and I wish they just streamlined it a little bit more and had less stories. Just had the best creators working on this book. I just felt like there were some that were just really, they just didn't really speak to my love of Batman at all. They just seemed a bit tone deaf and not really in line with this character. And I think, again, it was the problem of trying to jam so much in 8 pages. I think those were the ones that really suffered the most for me.
Right.
I like the ones that really made use of this format, because short comics can be very powerful and they can be very engaging, but you have to write it in a very particular way. That's my personal opinion, at least.
I agree with everything you said.
Do you have any other favorites early on in the book?
Early on, it was so long ago. but I can't remember.
My collector said, "Sorry, I'm late. I had to watch Tyler Blunt's unboxing of toys." I still have to watch that video. His Hall of Fame.
Early on, I'll say no. Everything else was okay. I think it started off okay.
I have another one to show off that's in the first volume. I liked Good Evening Midnight.
I like Devil's Trumpet.
Which one was that? I don't remember that one.
Where he goes to hear the guy that sold his soul to play the trumpet.
Right.
What other one did you like?
I liked Good Evening Midnight by Klaus Janson.
Oh,
Klaus Janson is very famous for the inker of Dark Knight Returns. He also drew, I think, Batman Gothic by Grant Morrison. Let
me highlight you while you're showing that.
Yes, I really enjoyed this story. It's essentially Alfred reading a letter that Thomas Wayne wrote to a young Bruce Wayne before Thomas passed away. It's pretty much just saying how he wanted Bruce to be better than him, how Thomas was just so compelled to help people, and by doing that, he sacrificed himself in the process, that he kind of lost sight of his family, but he still wants Bruce to be a courageous and sacrificial young man who really cares for Gotham City. It was just really cool to see the sad side of this letter, that Bruce isn't essentially who his dad wanted him to be, but he's also even better and greater than his dad could have ever dreamed him to be. So I really liked showing how Thomas had a really great vision for his son's life, which wasn't fully realized, but he is a greater beacon of hope than his father could have ever hoped to believe. That was a very powerful story from Klaus Janson, who wrote it and drew it, I believe.
Yeah, it wasn't until probably the middle of the book that I really started feeling beaten down.
Yeah, I think it was volume 3. There's only one story that I really liked in volume 3, to be honest.
Yeah. If you want me to pick my favorites, let me go to the table of contents and I'll just talk about them. We've shown art. I mean, I liked Ed Brubaker's. I loved Adam Hughes' story towards the end of the book.
Ed Brubaker's was by far my favorite.
Yeah, I think Adam Hughes' story was my favorite.
And that was one of the final stories. That was one of the final 3, I believe.
Second to the last story.
Right.
Dustin Nguyen's story was good.
I think we did that, our favorite Batman artists, a month ago. He is definitely one of my favorite artists of Batman. I just love the way he draws Batman.
Let me see if I can get to it, because it's like, oh yeah.
I think I have it dog-eared for me.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Don't get on my back. I'm not dog-earing my comic. I have these. We call this burning him. Wait, burn him. We burned our book.
We burned him.
Because Tim Burnham showed us a picture of his tabs for his copies of Bendis and Maleev's Daredevil, and it looks like he was writing a dissertation or something. So we made it into a verb. We burn him this book. I'm trying to find The Long Day. I think it's towards the end. See, there's so many stories, it's hard to find them in this volume, so please bear with us. Here we go. So essentially, this story just chronicles the day in the life of Batman.
Oh, yeah.
It does. And it was an excellent story. Just shows every single page is a different crime he has to foil, has a different disaster he has to avert. And I just love the end. I don't want to spoil it too. Well, it's not really much of a spoiler. He essentially just meets up with Catwoman, and he just says, yeah, it's been a long day, but it's just the beginning. Like his job is never over. He's working into the late hours of the night. Bruce goes to bed at like 5 or 6 a.m. And gets up whenever it's nighttime. I just really love that story. And I love Dustin Nguyen's art.
Yeah, and here's Adam Hughes' story. This is an excellent story about a caper with Catwoman. I don't want to say anything more because it's a great story, and to say anything more than it's a caper with Catwoman and what's that hard-boiled detective's name?
Slam Bradley. I desperately want a Slam Bradley series. I want to see Tom King do a 12-issue maxi series of Slam Bradley. Because I heard Tom King say that he's been watching a lot of crime noir movies from the 50s and the 40s to get ready for Strange Adventures, because that was heavily influenced by crime noir movies. And so I know he loves that genre. So I love Slam Bradley. I loved him in the Catwoman Brubaker run. He was my favorite character besides Selena in that run for me.
Yeah.
I wish that DC would use him more.
Yeah. Well, then you should go back and read 1940s Batman comics when Slam Bradley was a feature.
I don't think so, Jess. I'm like 80s onward, and that's it for me.
I liked Paul Dini's stories. He had a couple, I think.
Oh yeah, I love his story that kicked off volume 2 of the trades, and that was Case Study, and it's drawn by Alex Ross, so of course it's beautiful. It's
this is a great story.
And I know Jess is kind of burned out by the Joker, but it's kind of this guy just trying to tell this other colleague at Arkham Asylum that he's finally figured out the Joker. And I don't want to spoil the story, but it really just shows how complex the Joker is and how we'll never fully understand him. That, like, we say, I think, like he says in the Killing Joke, he likes his origin story to be multiple choice. I mean, look at that page right there. That is fantastic.
Yeah, it really is.
I just love not knowing the origin story of the Joker. I like just it being a question mark. Again, like the Killing Joke, it's multiple choice that we're never going to fully know, and that makes him a more scary and dangerous character since we don't know. And you can never go wrong with Paul Dini, in my opinion. I've never read a story by him that I didn't like.
Right, and I meant to. Oh, here it is. This is one of my favorite stories by Paul Dini because, of course, it features Harley and Poison Ivy.
Oh yeah. That was a volume 4.
And it involves a kidnapped child and what heroes really are. And the little kid breaks away and runs into Harley and Ivy in the middle of a caper. And it's really good. I really enjoyed this story a lot.
We have a good question from Brett Eicher if you want to highlight that.
Okay. Yeah, he's the one that interrupted Harley for us. So, yeah.
What recently announced upcoming Batman-related omnibus are you guys most looking forward to? I know what Jess's is. Well, it's not most recent. I know what your favorite omnibus this year is going to be.
I can't think of omnibuses right now.
Superman Batman.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I'm really happy that the Paul Dini Batman omnibus is coming out. But I spent so much time and effort just tracking those books down. And Thomas Marchitelli sent me some of his books for free, and I don't want to just throw his generosity out the window. So I'm just going to stick with the trades for now. I think Jess is going to double dip, right?
I am going to double dip. I'm going to keep the trades because they took so long for me to find, and that omnibus sounds so awesome that I definitely want it.
I don't know. That's going to be in September, I believe, so I have a lot of time to decide. That's hard, but I'm so excited for everybody else because these books have been out of print for a long time besides Heart of Hush. So I'm glad that people are finally going to be able to read this fantastic run, which I think is so underrated.
Right. I agree with that.
So those are probably the ones that I'm most excited about at this time. And I do need to read that Batman Superman run.
Superman Batman.
Because I think back then when it came out, Superman was still neck and neck with Batman in terms of popularity. But in recent years, Batman has really shot up past Superman. And he's much more popular, I think, overall.
Well, that's your opinion.
I'm just saying, who gets the most books? Who gets the most books printed at DC?
I know.
Who has spin-off books? I'm saying, just in terms of dollars and cents,
it's definitely Batman-centric at DC.
I'm not saying Batman's a better character. He is, in my opinion. But I think it's pretty easy to say that he's the most popular comic book character right now.
Yeah.
I would say he's the most popular comic book character of all time.
And Ryan Blue Thunder says the Batwoman Omni. That's going to be good too.
Ooh, I'm really excited. I don't have any of that in my collection. I had to read it on Hoopla. So I'm really excited to finally read that. And hopefully we'll do a video of that in September when it comes out. I've read the Greg Rucka stuff. I've never read the J.H. Williams stuff. Which
I have it all together in a custom Omni. I don't know. I mean, I guess I'll have to hang on to it because of the Greg Rucka stuff. So I'll have 2 Batwoman Omnis.
Do you think it's hard to get rid of custom Omnis? Have you ever sold one before?
No, I haven't, and I don't know that anybody would really want this Omni. This was like kind of a personal choice thing because it's all singles put together, so there's ads in it. And I think somebody that wants a custom book probably would rather have like my Red Lanterns custom Omni that was all the paperbacks put together, so there's no ads in it. And I think that makes for a better, where'd you go? Better reading experience. He hit the button accidentally to get rid of himself. He'll be back. I'll let him back in. There's New 52 Nightwing and Batgirl. Yeah, we've reviewed Batgirl. I don't think we've done a Nightwing review before. There you are. You're back. And you're frozen. What's going on with you today? Is the Bat Baby running around fiddling with your internet connection?
I'll try to figure this out. Rick, I'll be right back.
Okay. Okay, so let's see. Let's look at the Ed. I like the Jimmy Palmiotti story. Where is the Ed Brubaker story? I felt like the Ed Brubaker story was a little bit later in the book. Jeff Lemire wrote a good story called Winter's End. Where the heck is that? You'd think since I'm a professional, I would have had. Oh, there it is, 529. I would have had all these set apart. Here it is. This is the Ed Brubaker story, and it deals with kids in an orphanage and the janitor that takes care of them. It's really the story of the janitor and how he gets a second chance. So this is an Ed Brubaker story. It's well illustrated, as you can see, and it's really good. It's Ed Brubaker, and he does a great job in his 8 pages. Batman makes an appearance, but it's really the story about the janitor in the orphanage. Am I getting the bombshell Mary Marvel to go with all the others? Facebook user. I'm sorry, I don't know who you are. It just says Facebook user on my page. So if it said Mary Marvel, I would get it. But it says Mary Shazam. And that's just not my Mary Marvel. I hate that Mary Shazam bit. I hate the whole Shazam thing. It's really Captain Marvel, not Shazam. And the honest answer is I don't have room for it. So I am not getting Mary Shazam, although it's a beautiful statue. I really want that death bombshell. I don't know how I would sneak that past my wife. She'll notice it in 2 seconds. So I don't. I just don't have room for any more statues. I
just plan it for your great heist at the end of March.
I just don't see how I can fit any more statues in. There's just no more surface space for them. And it breaks my heart with all these new bombshells coming out. I am getting the new really fancy Harley bombshell that's coming out in the fall that shows her with her mallet at one of those where you pound it down and try and ring the bell at a carnival. And I think the Joker's on it. So I am getting that. I have room for that. I made room for that. But that may be the final statue.
And were you talking about Ed Brubaker's book, Ed Brubaker's story while I was gone? I think I heard you mentioning that.
I was, yeah.
I have a quote that I absolutely love from that story that I want to read. That was by far my favorite story of the entire run. It's this man, that janitor you were talking about, who was talking about Batman. And he's talking about how Batman impacted him, but it really speaks to how Batman has impacted me over the past 25 years of my life since I've known about Batman. I was like 4 or 5 years old. He said, after you meet Batman, nothing is ever the same again. He becomes a part of you. He changes the way you look at the world. He changes everything. I know that sounds kind of cheesy to talk about a fictional character that way, but Batman has really become a part of me and influenced the way I see the world. He's helped me to become more of a sacrificial and less selfish person to focus on other people. He's not just entertained me. I think he's helped me to become a better person. And so I think Batman has really changed a lot about my life. So that quote really resonated with me.
Wow.
I really love that story.
I mean, I have a crush on a fictional character, Emma Frost, but she hasn't made me a better person. She's probably made me a worse person.
Well, at their core, especially Batman, these are aspirational characters who teach you how to be less selfish and more selfless, to look outside of yourself and look at other people. And Batman really helps me to do that because it's so easy for us to focus on our lives. But these superheroes ideally cause us to say, I want to make this world a better place. How can I do that in my context? So Batman and other superheroes entertain me, but they really help push me forward to be the man that I really want to be, if that makes sense. Sorry if that's over the top for you, but that's just what I think.
I think it's awesome. It's from the heart. You're passionate. That's what we want to see here.
All right,
that's
good.
Great.
And someone asked how my son is doing. Uzab, hopefully you were here early on with Bat Sam's latest Batman outfit. He's doing great. He's 4.5 months old. I was telling Jess earlier that he goes to bed at 7:30 and he wakes up at 7 in the morning. So you really can't beat that. So thank you for asking.
Yeah, Bat Sam's awesome.
And Lloyd, you're not wrong. Jess has used up his home protocol passes.
If someone wants to send me something for free for real, that's fine. But I can't use the Han protocol anymore because he's right. I definitely have used it up.
What do you think the limit is? 3 at the most?
In your lifetime. Total.
I don't know. People do send us. I've had people send me stuff over the past 6 months, but it really depends on what it is. Like, it's hard to convince your wife that someone sent you a $400 statue.
Right. It's a lot easier when somebody like Rick Nelson sent me the Transformers book, which was really nice of him. And he and I are going to review it sometime next week. That's an easy sell. But yeah, if somebody, I mean, I'm not crazy. I don't think I'm going to buy a Prime One $1,200 statue and say, oh, the guys from the Omnibus group got together. Although Ryan Sace got a bunch of people together and got me that Irredeemable cover when I was in the hospital.
Yeah, but you have to go through another health episode for that to happen. You don't want
I don't want to do that.
Fall down the stairs on purpose and break something.
No, I don't want to do that. I don't want.
Jess already essentially lives at the hospital. So they have like a nice cot for him. They have a nice mug. It just says his name on it. So Jess doesn't want to be at the hospital any more than he already is throughout the week. It feels like every single time you text me, you're like, I'm at the hospital.
I'm at the doctor.
I'm at the doctor. Okay.
I have a lot of doctor appointments.
I don't want to scare anybody.
That's true. I was waiting an hour for the doctor yesterday, and I got almost all of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Volume 4 read. And which is a great book, which T-Lar Blunt, who's in the chat.
What a jerk. He jumped on that video today so that he could be 300 and not me. That's the only reason why he came out of retirement to do this video today. Was that he could be the 300th video on your channel.
I didn't even know until Michael Lombardo told me.
It all makes sense now. No wonder he's magically had time a couple hours before our next video.
T-Lar Blunt was on my 300th episode earlier this morning. I didn't even know until Michael Lombardo told me.
Yeah, Tyler, call in to defend yourself or unveil your evil plan.
Oh, and Brian Meenan's in the chat. How's it going, Brian? He wants to hear the flood story. So once we get done with Batman Black and White, I will tell the viewers the great flood of 2017 and how it ruined things, and but it didn't make me drink.
That's good.
I don't drink, and so anymore. So yeah, I will explain that after we get done with Batman Black and White. So we've highlighted a lot of the stories we liked. I actually liked the Howard Chaykin story, Petty Crimes.
Can you refresh my memory on that one?
Yeah, that's the guy who goes around, keeps getting frustrated at people. Let me highlight myself.
Oh, he kills people for like really commonplace crimes, like crossing the street not at a crosswalk, things like that.
Yeah, people that don't pick up their dog after their dog, people that cut him off in traffic. He just gets fed up, and he's like a vigilante killer for all these petty crimes. The art, of course, is Howard Chaykin, so it's really good. But I really enjoyed this story too, because he tries to compare himself to Batman as a vigilante, and Batman just rips him to shreds.
Your favorite person in the world's in the chat. Did he say he's going to come here to talk crap on you?
Yeah, I did. Nearman Condition says, I'm calling this segment the goddamn Bat Saturday.
Omar, how soaked in tears is your X-Men box set right now? Did you buy an extra one just so you could cry on the one that Marvel sent you? I really loved the Chris Samney story. I adore Chris Samney as an artist. I love his work with Mark Waid.
Now, see, that's a story that's full of word bubbles, but it's still
I
good.
didn't mind it though, because the dialogue was excellent and the story was excellent. And this story just reminded me how much I want to see a Mark Waid and Chris Samney Batman run or Batman miniseries. Just imagine how great that would be. It's crazy to think Mark Waid, for as many characters as he's written, he's never written a full-on Batman book. He's never written a Batman miniseries that I know of. He's written him in JLA Tower of Babel. He's written him in Kingdom Come, but he's never done a full-on Batman story, I believe. So I would love to see him and Chris Samney do a run or a miniseries together, because I think they're one of the greatest dynamic duos in comic books.
Next
I'm really excited to get that Black Widow complete collection, because I love that story.
So good.
It's so good.
It is so good.
Omar sent something back that I don't want to read, so
we'll just leave it there then.
Any other stories that you like, Jess?
Let's see. We already covered. I think I like the Steven Seagal story. On the face of it, Warren Ellis written story with Jim Lee art sounds like a dream come true, but I don't think. Let me double check. I don't think
it was good, but it wasn't great.
Yeah, it was good, but it wasn't great.
And I've already binge watched the 3rd season of Castlevania.
Oh, you all have?
I was on Bat Sam duty yesterday watching my son, so all we did was hang out and watch Castlevania the whole day. it was fantastic.
You're
loved
such
it.
a millennial.
Sorry, I had nothing else to do. Either sit there and stare at him. I mean, we played together, but I'm able to play with him and watch TV at the same time. So it was a fun day. I watched it on Thursday and Friday.
I am next week. I am taking the first 4 days off from reading. So excuse me. So I can catch up on things like Castlevania, the movie Parasite, the movie Joker, which I still haven't seen.
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Curb Your Enthusiasm. I need to catch up on. There's a lot of television and movies that I need to see, and so
speaking of good shows,
look
at my Tobias Funke glass. I think Tobias is Jess and I's favorite Arrested Development character.
Oh, easily.
Never nude.
There
are dozens of us.
There are dozens of us.
So speaking of another Batman story I really loved, I loved the Paulo Rivera story. Paulo Rivera, who drew a great couple arcs for Wade's Daredevil, and I really enjoyed this story. Did you like it, Jess? Do you remember this one?
Which one was this?
This is the one where Batman has a yearly test administered by Alfred
yeah.
to test his survival skills. And at one point, Batman grapples onto a missile and rides it towards the Bat Mansion. That was just so awesome. I'm sorry, Wayne Manor. I love those moments, and I think Paulo Rivera is a fantastic artist. And it was such a cool story. Alfred's one of the most underrated Batman characters, so I love to see him front and center.
Yeah, that was a good story. I liked it a lot.
So I think that's the end of the ones that I think were excellent. I think there's a smattering of good stories. Again, there's a lot of mediocre stories and some that were just, why is this so bad?
Well, I don't think we really need to. We've highlighted the highlights. We don't need to talk about anything else. We've talked about what we
like to be positive. We don't like to be negative.
Right. So we highlighted the positive, and we think that this book needs to be read in short bursts with other stuff in between. I mean, Neil Gaiman even wrote a story in this, so there's lots of top writers in this. But it's not meant to be binged. It's meant to be read a little bit at a time. So I know it's hard, to do that with a big fat omnibus, but you should really read 3 or 4 stories, go do something else, and come back to it. Take a couple weeks to read this book.
Go eat some cheesecake.
Eat some cheesecake. Walk your dog. Do all the things that you want to do. And then,
I would definitely say this isn't for Batman newbies or people who have a passing interest in the character. I have a lot of other recommendations for you. This is for serious fans of Batman and Batman collectors.
Yeah.
I'm glad I have it in my collection, though, as a big Batman fan. There are some stories I'm going to go back to and read over and over again throughout the years. So I think if you're a serious Batman fan, which you probably are if you're watching this show, that this is a really good series to add to your collection. But again, don't binge it. Don't be a millennial like me. Be a boomer like Jess.
Okay.
I said that once to Jess. He didn't appreciate it when I said, okay, boomer.
Oh, my God. That is such a condescending remark.
Well, students I work with say that to me, too. And I'm like, I'm not even close to being a baby boomer. It's Gen X, then millennial. That's where I am. I'm not even close to a baby boomer.
Yeah. Omar's a Gen X.
Yeah, Omar's getting on your case for taking 4 days off from reading.
I saw that. We never stop reading on NMC. Well, I'm not on near mint condition. I'm on Omnidog's Vault, and I'm taking a break. I can't take it. All I do is read comic books. I got to catch up on some television.
Wow, we have a great compliment from Matthew if you want to highlight it.
Oh, Matthew, who is a fabulous artist himself.
Well, Matthew, I hope that our shows help you to like Batman more, too. Because I always say this to in a lot of our different videos. I think Batman is such a multifaceted character, and there's so many different entry points into him. Like there's Batman animated series, there's Batman 66 if you're into that campy Adam West fun-loving era. There's the comics, there's the movies. There's so many different types of Batman. I think Batman is for everyone. So I don't care which version of Batman you love as long as you love Batman. So I'm hoping that our videos will rub off on you and you'll start loving Batman or start having more of an interest in his character.
Tim Klein, I don't know that I've ever been patted on the head. So
you probably were as a kid.
Not in a condescending way. I
probably
think
being called a boomer.
They both sound rude. My daughter said that to me, and I was like, if you ever say that again, you're cut off, so don't.
You'll never get my Omnis.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
You can pay for your own cell phone.
That's definitely a millennial thing, huh?
Yeah.
I still use my parents' Netflix. Why pay for 2 accounts? What's the point?
Yeah, why bother?
I use my Disney Plus though, so we pay them. They pay us back that way.
She uses my Disney Plus and my Netflix, and I don't care. I think it's fine.
Who really cares? Yeah.
I think it's fine.
What's the point of paying for more?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to keep this on me because I liked a lot of the stories, loved a few of the stories, and I'm going to ignore some of the other stories. But it's good enough, as Taylor said, that I will go back to it and reread the stories that I really liked.
Yes.
So
I definitely agree.
If you're on the fence, that may not be a ringing endorsement. If you're a Batman fan, then if you're a solid Batman fan, I think you need the book. If you're just sort of on Batman, then I probably don't think this book's for you. I think it's more for hardcore Batman fans like Taylor and me.
And check it out on Hoopla if you're not sure.
That's a good point.
I definitely love Hoopla because it helps me test the waters with books I'm not sure about.
Yeah.
Like The Matador.
Did you read that on Hoopla?
I did. I for some reason I'm like, I'm just gonna read this on Hoopla. I'm not gonna buy it. And thankfully my reader's intuition helped me that day.
That was a gift from someone, and I thought, oh well, if he's given it to me, it must be good. And I still didn't hate it, and you hated it.
That's the only disagreement I think we've had so far.
I think so. Yeah, you
That's pretty
hated it
good.
with passion. Chad Omnidog hated it too.
He does have good taste.
Brian, are you still in the chat? Do you want to hear the flood story? I can sum it up really quick.
He's still up. He's still here. I see him there 4 minutes ago.
Oh, all right. So I'm here in the BatCave. This is our basement, and I have the special room where you see me now. Outside in our backyard, I had a bed, a vegetable bed, where I used to grow corn. I grew it for like 20 years, and it stayed there. It was big railroad ties. So it's going like this. My wife built a stone bed going like this in the backyard, and it looked pretty for landscaping. It looked gorgeous. It finished everything off. It turns out the problem was when it rained, the water got blocked and had nowhere to go except this way. And there's stairs leading out, coming down into this basement. So one night, actually it happened in 2015, and just the rug got soaked. I saved all my comic books, but we didn't figure it out until 2017 when I actually waded out into, we have a sump pump drain out there. I waded out into, it was the water in the back. There's a brick wall with stairs, and the water was waist deep, pressing up against the door to my basement. So the water's pressing up against the door. It starts coming in.
Seeping through the walls too, probably, wasn't it?
Sorry?
Was it seeping through the walls at all?
Not
That could happen if it's like, it probably wasn't
at that point.
It could have if it had been for a lot much longer.
So water is seeping through the floor, and it's 10 o'clock at night. And I immediately start going to the lower shelves of my bookcase because that's where a lot of my whales were. I mean, I didn't think that they're not there now. I can promise you that. But that's where a lot of my whales were. And I saved as many whales as I could by piling them on top of the furniture in here. And as much as I tried to save, I probably saved a third of the books on the lower level.
Wow.
The door burst open, and all that water came flooding in. It was 5 inches, 6 inches of water in the entire basement. It ruined everything on the lower level of my books. I lost probably 75 books.
Oh, man.
And they were things that I really had spent a lot of time looking for, like the New Mutants classics, Peter David's Hulk. I didn't lose the Ultimate line, fortunately. I'm trying to think of what else I had to replace. I had to replace a ton of stuff. It ruined the Neil Adams Omni of Batman. I didn't replace that.
That's terrible.
But it ruined like 75 books, and they're water damaged, and you can't replace the. I mean, you can't read those anymore. They're water damaged. So we had to have the entire basement redone, which means all of this stuff had to be packed up and moved out into a storage unit in our driveway.
Does insurance help cover that, or is that out of your?
That was insurance covered that, yeah, because there was some pump failure. So to make sure it never happened again, and it's been tested out because 2018 was the rainiest year on record here, like since they've been keeping records. We tore out the corn bed. They regraded the backyard so all our water goes more naturally towards the neighbors and goes down towards a stream. It's not like I have all my water going to the neighbors. It goes and flows down to a stream, and they widened the sump pump hole. But I had to get every single statue, every single action figure, every piece of furniture, all went into the storage unit that was one of those big giant pods, and it was packed in there for a month while they came in, had to redo the carpet, the walls, the molding. It ruined a bunch of albums that I did not get to. My vinyl, it ruined a bunch of vinyl that I didn't get to in time. It flooded the entire basement. So they had to redo everything, drywall, carpeting, molding. They had to do special stuff to make sure mold wouldn't grow in the nooks and crannies. And then all the stuff got brought back in, and I had to unpack it and redo everything. So that, and the first thing I did, I called insurance. Second thing I did was, since it had already happened, I knew who to call to come dry the thing out. They bring these big industrial fans and blowers to dry everything out. They did that at midnight, and the first thing I did was go upstairs and pour myself a cup of coffee because I knew it was going to be a long night. It did not make me want to drink. My wife was so happy. She said, "Oh my gosh, I thought you were going to drink." And I said, "No, why would I do that? I just want a cup of coffee. It's going to be a long night." So the end of the story is my collection's bigger and better than ever. All my whales are up top. I'm not saying anything's flood proof, but 2018 and 2019 were heavy rain years here, and all the water drained properly. We never had a single drop come in the basement. So I believe I'm safe.
That's great. That makes me, we have an unfinished basement. This pretty much has our dryer and washer and our furnace and things like that. So I have my stuff on the second floor. So I don't have too much to worry about unless like the roof caves in or something. But that sounds like a nightmare though. But I'm glad you didn't give up on your collection, but you just kept going.
Well, that's when I had a bunch of, this was before I sold my singles, and I had probably 15 really valuable Silver Age comics that I was in the middle of doing inventory on, and those were just floating.
Okay.
They were floating. All my pop boxes got ruined. They were the figures were okay,
at least.
but the pop boxes got ruined, and you can't sell them if you don't have the pop box. So I'm stuck with all these pop figures. Anything that was on the floor, I now I don't leave anything on the floor. So
except Akira.
Except Akira.
At least the water will get the dust off of it. Well, I'm glad that you're even back then better than you were before. So that's awesome that you still kept with it and you're able to track down some of the books that you really wanted, right?
Yeah, and then some of them are coming out. Like New Mutants is coming out in omnibus form. Peter David Hulk is coming out in New Mutant in an omnibus form. So eventually everything seems to have been collected either in hardcover or epic format that I lost. It was mostly Marvel stuff that I lost. For some reason, I think I had Marvel on the bottom shelves at that time. And I didn't lose any really valuable Omnis, but I lost a lot of really valuable, to me, because it took a long time to find them, trade paperbacks.
I guess just put all your least favorite books on the bottom shelf, just in case.
Well,
put Batman Damn down there.
I sleep better at night now.
Just get a bunch of copies of Batman Damn and just shove it into the door.
Yeah.
The flood.
I sleep a lot better at night now that the backyard's been regraded.
That's good. So Jesse Saywood has a good question that appeals to
we'll highlight it.
So it has not been fully collected yet. The fifth deluxe hardcover is coming out this July. I know I was worried for a long time, and so was Jess, that they were going to stop this line because DC has seemed to stop doing the oversized hardcovers of Rebirth, but it seems like they're sticking with Tom King's run. The 5th deluxe comes out in July, I believe. And I think after that, all we need is one more deluxe to finish out his main Batman run. And then down the line, hopefully we'll have another deluxe of his Batman Catwoman 12-issue series with him and Clayman. So we're getting there. We're almost there. And Jess and I are unabashed Tom King Batman lovers.
Yep.
And I know there's a lot of people who have a lot of different opinions about it, but that's just our opinion.
Peace and love, but we love Tom King.
Matthew Mangy, bottom shelf for manga. For manga.
And Brian, thank you for the congratulations. In May, it'll be 12 years that I have been sober. So thank you for saying that. I appreciate it.
That's a big accomplishment. That's great.
It hasn't happened yet. It's just March, but I take it a day at a time, as they say.
Well, even so, 11 years and change is still a big accomplishment.
Yeah.
MJR, do you like Bat manga?
I sold my Bat manga.
Uh-oh. Have you ever read it before?
It wasn't for me.
Okay. Was it back? I don't want to call it backwards because that's an American thing to say. Does it read right to left like every other manga?
It reads like other manga, yeah.
I remember trying to read Dragon Ball Z manga in high school or in middle school because I used to like that cartoon. I just couldn't do it. It just messes with me. I guess it's my Western mindset. I don't know.
Yeah, I still have 2 Junji Ito books that I kept. Otherwise, I sold all my manga. But I do like Junji Ito. And I found him easier to follow reading Eastern style. His stories to me were easier to follow. I was, for some reason, they seemed to flow better. I liked the art better than I did in other manga. And I was able to read it a lot easier. So that's why I kept those. Yeah, and I still have the Akira box set. That's true. I don't know what I'm going to do with that.
And Matthew Mongi says, "Congrats, Jess. I'm 6.5 years a non-smoker. Feels
Ooh,
good."
Congratulations. I quit smoking 2.5 years ago because smoking's what I picked up when I quit drinking.
I've heard for a lot of people that smoking's almost harder at times to quit than drinking.
Oh, yeah. It was for me.
Oh, really?
I stopped drinking and boom, done. Smoking is so much for me anyway. I can't speak for anybody else. It is super addictive.
Well, good for both of you that you both stopped for your own health. So I actually have a question for you, Jess. What are your thoughts on the latest reveal of the Batmobile for the new Robert Pattinson Batman movie? Do you have any thoughts?
That?
Do you want me to pull up some pictures?
Yeah.
Let's get some pictures up.
I don't see that question.
I wanted to ask you that question.
Oh.
I was interested in what your thoughts were.
It's a personal question.
It's a personal question. Let me see if I can find any. See if there's any other questions you can answer while I look it up.
Matthew, yeah, there's a version of Akira that reads right to left. I think that's the colored books, but I don't have those.
Okay, come on. Where are these pictures? Did you have any thoughts on his? It was hard to see his Batman costume. He's kind of in the dark.
I'll be honest with you. They're so dark. I don't know that I have an opinion yet.
Right. The one part of the costume that looks weird to me is the cowl, like the nose area. It looks kind of like Daredevil's costume in the Daredevil Netflix show.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to reserve my judgment until I see a trailer or something because these things
yeah,
it's
way too early. It's way too early to make a judgment, especially when I couldn't see it.
I'll screen share.
Okay.
And I can show you what the Batmobile looks like according to Matt Reeves on Twitter, who's the director and writer of this movie. Am I doing it? Oh, sorry. There we go. Can you see it?
Yeah.
So it's kind of more like a muscle car. It kind of reminds me a little bit of what they were trying to do in Zero Year, even though that was more of an old school car. But what do you think about that, Jess?
I can't. All I see is the headlights and the hood. So I.
Or here's another picture. Move forward.
Okay, that looks cool.
I'm thinking this is probably gonna be like an initial prototype of the
Oh,
vehicle.
that looks really cool to me.
I'm not a huge car guy, but I'm sure this probably appeals to car fans. I still don't think they'll ever be able to outdo the original 1989 Batmobile with Tim Burton. I love that car.
Boss.
That just, if I could have that car, I would feel like the coolest guy around. Can you imagine seeing that in your driveway? That'd be awesome.
Picking up Sam and the school line with all the other moms, and you're there in the Batmobile picking him up from school.
And some guys riding my butt, just turn on the back thrusters.
Whoops. Where'd you go? That was weird.
Sorry. I have two screens down here. So here we go. So yeah, my thoughts are I think the car looks pretty cool. I hope it's not the final car because I do want it to look more like the Batmobile. At this point, it looks more like a prototype, like his first car. Even though I have heard that this movie is basically like a Batman Year 2. It's not like Batman Begins all over again. It's him being an established Batman. But I really have confidence in Matt Reeves because I love those Planet of the Apes movies that he did, and I usually hate Planet of the Apes. So I really have a lot of faith in him, and I'm hoping that it'll be good. And I think I've changed my opinion about Robert Pattinson. He's moved beyond the Twilight movies, which I did not enjoy, and he's become a really serious actor in his own right. So I'm going to give it a chance. I'm not going to prejudge. I'll be there day one to see the movie because I need to. If it's a Batman movie, I'm going to go see it on day one for sure.
Yeah, me too. Here, Lloyd Wong has a good question about an omnibus that's coming up. Do you guys already have all of No Man's Land in trade, or will you be getting the Omnis?
What about you, Jess?
I have them all in trade already, so I am content with that.
I only had the first two trades, Cataclysm and Road to No Man's #1, and to be honest, I didn't enjoy them, and a part of me just wants to kind of get rid of them. Maybe I need to push forward into No Man's Land. It was just reading those crossover runs from the 90s is so difficult because there's so many random titles like Azrael. Who wants to read an Azrael title? There's Robin, there's Huntress, there's Oracle. There's too many books for me. And I always tell Jess that I like really simple to the point books. I don't like a lot of crossovers. I like to have a really streamlined story. So books like No Man's Land, I don't want to bash it for any of you who love it. I know that's probably how a lot of people got into comics. I just don't think it's for me. I'm not sure. But I'm willing to give it another try, though, before I sell them off.
I think one of them's out of print that you can
really?
get good money for. Yeah, I think Cataclysm might be out of print.
I'm not sure how much it'll be selling for now that they had announced the Omnis, though. But you never know with DC. Yeah, so Nman40 says, believe it or not, I read some people saying they were not going to see the movie based on the suit and the car reveal. That's just way too much.
That's crazy.
These things look different in the trailer and actually in the movie. And I'm gonna reserve my judgment for actually seeing the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, going and seeing the movie, I'm not even going to base it on the trailer. I want to see the movie, then I will judge it.
Well, because I thought Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey was going to be horrible based on the trailers.
Yeah.
And it ended up being, I didn't love it as much as Jess did, but I thought it was a solid movie. And so I'm glad I didn't just base it on the trailers totally. Otherwise, I wouldn't have seen it. So I'm going to definitely see it no matter what happens.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm excited for it.
Matthew Monge, you're not wrong. It can be frustrating to go see movies because you have to hold in your pee sometimes.
I made it through Avengers Endgame. You just have to make sure you don't drink anything like that whole morning.
That's true.
No coffee, no soda, nothing.
Just passing out in the theater from dehydration.
Yeah. You got to be dehydrated and then fill up afterwards.
Is the Absolute Gotham by Gaslight canceled? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either.
Let me check on Amazon. Are you a fan of Gotham by Gaslight?
I read it so long ago, I don't remember having an opinion. Was that the Mignola one?
Yes, that was the book that he drew.
I think I liked it, but I can't remember.
It looks like they're making it into a deluxe edition instead.
Oh,
For
okay.
September. That book is so small, that would not be worthy of an absolute. It's just such a slight volume. So I think it's definitely going to be a deluxe in September of this year. And I actually really enjoyed the DC animated movie of that. That was a great adaptation that I really enjoyed. So I would check out the book, then check out the movie if you have DC Universe.
There was a recent book that I did not like that had some theme like that, and I can't think of what it was. I don't even know if I kept it.
Brian Meenan, the only Batman omnibus I never wanted was the Batman Black and White, and I think I want it now. Well, if you want it, go ahead and get it. Like I said, just be careful in how you read it. Don't binge it. Take your time. I think you'll enjoy it a lot more than we did, even though we both enjoyed it. I think we just realized this book needs to be read in a certain way to really enjoy it as much as you possibly can.
I must have given it away. I didn't like it so much.
The Batman Noel. Ryan Blue Thunder says, "Was it Noel?"
I did give Noel away. Yeah, didn't dig Noel.
What did you think of the Lieber Mayhew story that he wrote and drew?
I think as a writer, he's a great artist.
I think he's a phenomenal artist, but yeah, his story was not the best, to say the least.
No.
So that didn't really make me want to read Noel because I never read it before. I've kind of stayed away from it because of your opinion of it.
I just didn't find it original at all.
Hmm.
And I'm sorry.
It was kind of like A Christmas Carol for Batman, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I just didn't. His art is fantastic. I think that he should stick to his art. That's just my opinion, and I apologize to all the people out there who love his writing.
Maverick MX.
You must be kidding.
Maybe he's newer to the channel.
Are you?
So, if you're new to the channel, thanks for being here. We're glad you're watching. Jess and I are not fans of Batman Damned, and we have a review of that that you can go back and watch from several months ago. That was about 20 or 30 minutes long. It's not a long review because we didn't have much to say because we didn't really think much of it. So go back and watch our review. But in short, it's not worthy of a buy. It's not worthy of a hoopla. It's not worthy of a library rental. Phenomenal art that's ruined by a bad story.
I think there was a lot of editorial interference in that, and that Brian Azzarello must have gotten messed with because he's a better writer, much better writer than that book showed.
And Jess bit his tongue on Batman Damned when he met Azzarello this past October.
I did. I met him in Baltimore, and I complimented him on the Flashpoint Batman that I still think is one of the greatest Batman stories ever written, and we had a conversation about it. And he was a very nice guy, and he has a reputation as being a bit abrupt, but he was a very nice guy. He was right next to Tom King, and I spent time with both of them. And he was very nice. But I don't recommend Batman Damned. I recommend Flashpoint Batman. That's his best story.
Yeah, get that hardcover. It says Batman by Brian Azzarello and Eduardo Risso. That's a great deluxe edition. I love that book. It has Broken City, which a lot of people don't enjoy, but both Jess and I really like that story. I like Broken City.
That story gets a lot of dislike, and I liked it. I liked it fine, and of course I loved Flashpoint Batman. But I don't understand the hate that Broken City gets.
D.H. McAdams says he has a morbid curiosity about Damned. I mean, if you want to try it out, just don't buy it. That's just my opinion. I just don't think it's worth your buy. Jess and I want to steer you guys right. I don't think steering you right would be steering you towards Batman Damned. I want to steer you away from
Batman books out there.
Just read it for free, please. Don't buy it. Matthew Mongi says, did you order White Knight? I ordered that mostly for the art. I think Batman White Knight is decent, but I think it's overrated. I think it's a fantastic display of art. I just don't think that Sean Gordon Murphy is the greatest writer. And so I'm going to stick with my trade paperback for right now.
I think I liked it more than you did.
But I think you're sticking with the trade, aren't you?
I am sticking with the trade, but I liked it. I did like it more than you did. I
It's not
enjoyed
bad
the
by any
story.
means. I did enjoy it. I just didn't think it was as good as everyone says it was. That was just my personal opinion. I'm still gonna pick up Curse of the White Knight when that comes out later this year. I'll just have to deal with it being in different formats on my shelf.
Yeah, I did enjoy that story. Here's a good question from Ryan Blue Thunder.
I don't have that book in my collection, but I have read Batman Ego and I did enjoy it. Do you have that volume, Jess?
I don't have that volume because I think I have it in other format,
Okay.
and I have Darwin Cook stuff in other format. I know I have Ego in a different format. Darwin Cook is the late great Darwin Cook was a genius. I thought he wrote a great Batman. Writes a fantastic Catwoman. It's a great book, but I have it in other formats, so I don't need it.
I can't wait for that Martini edition of Parker to come out.
Oh, I know.
That's gonna be. I'm gonna wait for both of those to come out for us to do a crime corner on it. I'm gonna buy it whenever it comes out in May, but we'll wait to do a crime corner on it until we have both volumes to review. And people are really jamming you up about the Omnibus radio show.
Well, they should, because I keep telling these guys we need to do it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we'll do it this Sunday," and then it never happens. I
Jack
will.
is a herder of cats. If you don't know,
It is these guys. Yeah, it's hard to get them all. I mean, yeah, it's hard to get them all motivated to do this, but we promised we would do it, and we really should do it. So I will start jamming them up on a more regular basis to do the radio show. We definitely have to do it. Our 1940s reading of Batman Damned radio show, because I'm going to be John Constantine and my wife's going to be Harley Quinn.
didn't she? She also hated the book when she read it too, didn't she? Didn't she read some of it?
She read the Harley Quinn parts and she said, "You want me to read this?"
See, you're.
Hang on, you froze. Up. D.H. McAdams, that first Parker book is fantastic. So yeah, you need to get it. It's great that they're reprinting it. The Sam Neill Black Widow, Wade Sam Neill Widow book is still great to get in a complete collection, Matthew. It's a fantastic, great read by Mark Waid
Jess,
and Chris Sam Neill.
Did you send me Darkhawk or something? What's going on with my wife? Did you send me Darkhawk to try to pass off the curse?
Yeah, you've got
it's never happened. It's
going.
weird. We were pretty good for like 30 minutes. I don't know what's going on.
I don't even remember what we were talking about. Radio show, Curse Night. Oh, my wife reading the book.
Yeah, I said if you want to make her love Harley Quinn, don't make her read Batman Damn, one of the worst renditions of that character.
Yeah. The Parker Martini book, there's going to be 2 Martini editions, which are oversized. It's Darwin Cook writing Parker, who private detective, who's written by who?
Richard Stark.
Good.
It's Donald Westlake writing as Richard Stark. He was a famous novelist.
Darwin Cook did the first one, where he wrote it and illustrated it, and it's gorgeous. Then he passed away, but he left 2 other books that I have in small format that are Parker books. He's a private investigator, and Ed Brubaker's going to contribute, and it's going to be another big volume that's going to be Martini sized, and I'm crazy excited for it.
I'm really excited about that too, because I've never read those comics. I've been holding out for this new Martini edition that's coming out. So I'm very excited about it. I'm sure I'm going to love it because I love Darwin Cook and I really love dark noir stories, which I've heard Parker is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's too bad that he wasn't able to do more of those stories because there's like 20 books, I think. 20 Parker books.
He was taken way too soon.
Yes.
What's your opinion on the Arkham Saga Omni?
I don't have that. in my collection, actually. That was far too. I'm just not a big doorstop or Omni guy. I just don't. I don't know if you have it, Jess, in your collection. I didn't buy it, but I do have the Arkham Knight hardcovers that Jess so thoughtfully got me, and had my favorite Batman writer sign. That's Peter J. Tomasi, and he personalized it to me. And that was around the birth of my son. So I do treasure those, but I don't have the Arkham Omni.
Did he write that?
No, I think Paul Dini and some other people wrote that. I'm pretty sure that Arkham Knight's not included in that, but I could be wrong.
Is that I thought it was based on the video game, and which I only played the first one of, so I didn't pick it up because I didn't think I'd be interested in it, but maybe I should.
Well, I mean, some of it's written by Paul Dini. Those issues, I haven't read them, and then Peter Tomasi wrote the Arkham Knight stuff, so it might be something you're interested in. I haven't gotten to them yet, but maybe we can do a review on that down the line.
Okay.
But I do really enjoy having those in my collection. I love Peter J. Tomasi, and those signatures really mean a lot to me.
Right on.
And Schuler says, remember to wash your hands for at least 20 seconds, boys. Yeah, the coronavirus, Jess and I are really hoping, well, first of all, we're hoping that by May, this issue will be somewhat resolved. But also for our trip to AwesomeCon, I don't want to have creators bow out of that and not be able to go. So I'm really hoping that this can be cleared up by then, because Emerald City Con's pretty much bereft of anyone, right? DC pulled out. I think Marvel
postponed it. Yeah. Yeah, that's been postponed till like the fall. Because Seattle's ground zero for it right now.
Right. So I'm hoping that by May that this issue will be more well dealt with. So we have 2 months, so hopefully it'll be better by then. And yeah, Maverick MX, you're right. Another comic book professional gone too soon was Dwayne McDuffie, who was very popular for writing on the Justice League and Justice League Unlimited show. He's another guy who passed away, I think, in his 40s.
Ooh, that's crazy. I don't like hearing that at all. Would you rather the Paul Dini Batman collects what's solicited, or have the 7 trades collected with the extra material? I'm doing both, so it doesn't matter.
Jess and I have a sneaking suspicion that DC has watched our episode from several months ago about our most wanted Batman collected editions, because 4 of those Omnis have been solicited already. It's the Batwoman Omnibus by Greg Rucka and J.H. Williams. What else is there? The Dini Omnibus. The No Man's Land we laid out. The Road to No Man's Land was one of the ones we laid out in our video. And there was one other one that I can't remember. Yo, Batgirl, because Batgirl by Gail Simone also just got solicited.
And Batwoman.
Right. So there's 4.
Oh, you said Batwoman.
Yeah, so there's 4 books that we talked about this past fall that have been solicited. Now, this could be a coincidence, but all I'm saying is maybe DC has been watching some Baturdays. That would be awesome. And DC, if you are watching us, we would love to review your books that you send us. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Jess loves Milligan. You love Seth Fisher's Batman Snow.
Oh, I do.
He said, MJR said, rest in peace to Seth Fisher.
Another one. Michael Turner is another one that was taken too soon.
Should highlight Joe Chip's latest comment. Don't worry, they'll never be able to take us down.
We promote their character. They should love us.
As long as Jess wants me around, I'll be here.
Oh, and you're always going to be here.
Yo, I didn't really answer Austin's comment fully, or his question fully. Back in that video about our most wanted collected editions, I talked about what a Dini Omnibus would look like, and I personally took out the supplemental issues that weren't written by him because it's supposed to be a Dini Omnibus. They kind of padded out some of those detective volumes with extra stories that they were okay, but they're not nearly as good as the Paul Dini stories. So I'm fine with it being collected as is. Jess should do Sunday Silver Age with the Silver Fox.
That's a good idea. Sunday Silver Age with the Silver Fox. But people don't like the Silver Age. I'd get 0 viewers.
Jess is too much to read because apparently I'm a slave driver.
You
makes him read too much.
Yeah, I need some thin trades to read from
Well,
you.
Jess is mad about. Jess was blaming me for reading this, but this was your idea to read these.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, then I put it on the schedule because you were really excited about the Omni when it was coming out.
I was, because I remember liking them.
And I don't want to be too negative about it. It's really hard to do an 8-page story, and overall we enjoyed it, but there were some rough patches. Oh, T2, thank you for the compliment, dude.
We'll put up a compliment. Thank you, T2.
Yeah, Declan, we would love to get some books from DC to read, especially Batman books, but I'm not really sure how that works, to be honest. I'm not sure how you really go about that. So I hope so.
Joe Chip says he'd watch a show about the Bronze Age. I have Bronze Age knowledge. Bronze and Silver Age I have knowledge about, except X-Men.
Jess needs the head key from Lock and Key.
I do.
So you can add some stuff or take some stuff away.
Oh, D.H. McAdams. That's a low blow. I'm not even gonna highlight that.
What do you say?
I'm not even gonna say it. That's that's beneath you.
A3N, we're getting a lot of compliments right now, Jess, besides your one mean comment from D.H. McAdams. He really likes Crime Corner. Thank you. We love that show, and we have some exciting episodes coming out this month. Maybe we can highlight those. So I think next, Jess and I are going to review the Warren Ellis James Bond books, and we're also going to review a book that I just read recently, enjoyed, 8 Million Ways to Die.
Oh, I ordered that.
All right, good. This is based on one of my favorite private detective series by Lawrence Block about Matthew Scudder. And so this is based on one of his best, most well-known novels. So I'm excited to read that. And we're also going to review the James Bond by Warren Ellis. Warren Ellis is one of Jess and I's favorite writers. So we're really excited to review that. And later on this month, we're going to have the well-advertised episode of Daredevil by Bendis and Brubaker, which the Omnibus decided to pilfer for themselves. That's a good idea. Let's do that too.
Yeah, I know. Matthew, Crime Corner's on like twice a month on Fridays, I think. Like every other Friday, we're trying to do it.
We don't do it live just because it's easier to pre-record it at certain times.
Is this a serious? I have to ask if this is a serious question. Adrian, are you? I just want to know: is this a serious question, or are you trolling me?
He was giving us serious compliments earlier, so probably a serious question.
Okay, well, the answer is that is the worst book ever written in the history of the world.
It's worse than Damned?
Yes.
Wow, that's saying something.
Yeah, no, please don't buy that.
T2 is backing you up. He says, don't buy that book. It's awful.
Yeah, no, it's truly, truly wretched. It's in Batman by Neil Adams Omnibus, and that's the reason I didn't replace that book. It was horrible.
Matthew Mongi asked what Batman Odyssey is. It's a bad book written and drawn by Neil Adams, who shoves in his weird theory that the Earth is actually hollow. So according to Neil Adams, essentially our world is like Space Jam, and the Looney Tunes live in the hollow part of the Earth's core. So I don't know. I don't see how an intelligent human being can believe that the Earth is hollow. Jess has no words.
I don't have words.
Someone asked us if we could do Stray Bullets for Crime Corner. I don't have it, but I definitely want to read it. I've heard a lot of great things about it. I know Jess likes. I think you like it, but you said it's pretty dark, right?
Yeah, it's dark. I think David Lapham's a dark writer, and so it's one of the first things I think I read by him. I got it when it was coming out in singles, and then the Uber Alice or whatever Uber version came out. And I got that. I'm looking for it because I know I have it displayed somewhere. I just can't see it. So yeah, that would be a good one.
D.H. McAdams, thanks. He's making up for his last mean comment with a nice comment. That he loved the Stumptown show.
Thank you.
Love Stumptown. and I hope more people read it.
Oh, here's another compliment. Let's just have this be the compliment show.
Wow, that's a lot of episodes to watch. I think this is our 19th episode or something. So that's a lot of episodes to watch. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ryan.
So hopefully we're enriching your mind and taking some money out of your wallet for Batman. There's a bunch of idiots that believe the Earth is flat too. Yeah, unfortunately, people have a lot of weird theories.
Yeah. Is the Lapham hardcover coming out next week any good? Is that the Batman run? Because that was a good run, wasn't it?
I know he did a book on Batman. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah.
Even though I'm well versed in Batman, there's so many books that have been published throughout the years that there's a lot that fall through the cracks, even for me. So I'd be interested in that. I've heard a lot of great things about Stray Bullets. Oh, is that the City of Crime Deluxe Edition? Interesting. That might be a book we need to check out, Jess.
Okay.
I think it comes out, and I think is it already out, or did it come out this week? I think.
I think it's coming out this coming week.
There are so many good Batman books coming out in March and in April. We have this book, which I think will probably looks like it'll be pretty decent. There is the Last Night on Earth, comes out April 1st. That last Batman book by Capullo and by Snyder. There's Batman Universe by Bendis and Nick Darrington. I've heard a lot of great things about. And there's also Creature of the Night by Kurt Busiek. So we have a lot of great reviews ahead of us, Jess.
We do.
Really excited about. So good. Jess and I are going to be focusing on a lot of newer reviews in the next month or so, but we want to go back to older Batman runs in the future. But maybe some of the DC publishing stuff dies down with Batman, and there's some slower months for Batman. So we do have plans to go back to older runs and review them for all of you.
A3N has another question. Thinking about picking up the Batman Azzarello Deluxe, is it worth the extra cash over the Broken City trade paperback? If you like Broken City, it's worth it because it includes Flashpoint Batman and then his Wednesday Comics run, which are kind of tiny. And Wednesday Comics was this big, and it's shrunk down to deluxe size. So it was kind of an odd choice, but I liked his Wednesday Comics run. So I would say it's definitely worth an upgrade if you like Broken City.
I really enjoyed that Flashpoint Batman story that Jess keeps talking about. So I definitely think you should pick up that deluxe hardcover. I'm just going to grab it off the shelf to show it off for people.
Okay.
I feel like people need to see that.
And I'm going to sneeze, so I need to hit the mute button.
I mean, just look at this beautiful cover. This should just make you want to buy it automatically. This is a fantastic deluxe edition. I'll show off some of the art. I'm trying to find the Flashpoint Batman story. I think it's towards the middle of the book. Has great Dave Johnson covers. He's one of my favorite cover artists of all time. And I really love this story. Jess obviously loves this story. He's talked about it a lot. It's essentially a story in a different timeline where Thomas Wayne is Batman because Bruce Wayne was killed in that alley. And this has a great story, and Jess always says it has one of the greatest twist endings, or one of the greatest twists.
Greatest twist that I've ever read.
So I definitely think this book is worth the pickup.
Yeah, I agree. The art is fantastic.
Oh, yeah. And the story is actually really good, too.
Yeah.
Azzarello's kind of hit or miss for me, but I think he was definitely a hit in this book all throughout it.
I agree.
I agree that the Wednesday Comics was kind of annoying because it's not meant to be read in this format, and it was hard to read.
Thank you for saying bless you, T2. I appreciate it.
Ooh, Tim Klein's buying it right now. Awesome.
Nice.
CBC, we sell your books every week. Send us some review books and we'll get people to buy them.
Yeah.
I still think that Jess should take over for Dan DiDio.
I'd be happy to be their advisor on the collected editions department.
Yes.
Free.
There you go. DC, if you're smart, you'll hire this guy. For the first time I got this right, I always point in the wrong direction because it's so messed up with the mirroring.
Yeah.
The first time, you have to do the opposite of what you think it is.
Yeah.
Was anybody else have any other questions?
We're at an hour and a half. I think I need to go start dinner or something. So I think we should probably
That's fine
say
with
our
me.
thank yous. Let's see. Wait, Austin Caldwell has one last question. I have the one that was released before that's in black and white. Does that contain the same content?
Do you know what he's talking about?
I feel like he's talking about Broken City.
Oh, I think that's just Broken City then. I don't think there's a Flashpoint in black and white that I know of.
Not that I know of.
So I would just say get this if you can. This is a great book. It looks great on the shelf. I would definitely get it.
Yeah. Well, thank you to our viewers. Thank you to the chat. The chat was great. We had lots of good questions, lots of good comments. I really appreciate everybody that tuned in. Lloyd Wong says, no, it came out in a noir edition. Okay, so that's the black and white format that he's referring to.
Again, I would just say get this over the noir edition unless you already have it. But this has the Flashpoint story, which every Batman fan needs to have.
Are you guys looking forward to Year of the Villain Omnibus? Is there going to be one? I thought it got canceled.
Let me look it up. That can be our last question.
Okay. Thank you to the chat. Thank you to our viewers. Please subscribe. Hit the like button. Hit the please give the channel a like. Hit the bell so you get notifications when the show is on the air. Thank you to my co-host Taylor. Thank you to everybody out there. And we're waiting for the answer.
I'm not seeing it. I'm just seeing paperbacks of it. So I'm not saying it's not coming out. I just don't see it on Amazon right now.
I feel like it got canceled.
It sounds like something DC would do, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Don't take that in the wrong way, DC, if you're watching. So, peace and love. Peace and love. Thank you for watching. This was a great episode. I really appreciate all our viewers. Thank you so much. And thank you, Taylor.